Fall Guys is one of the most popular Enough of the intro. I don't want to dance around this subject. Fall Guys has a huge hacking problem, and I'm pretty sure you are aware of it, and you have clicked on this video in a hope to know that the Fall Guys developers have fixed the problem. Well, today I'll be telling you everything you need to know about whether they have fixed the problem and arguments for they not fixing the problem, as well as suggestions that the developers should consider for fixing this huge problem that is plaguing the Fall Guys game. But let's just pause there. I just want to say 70% of you guys watching this video are not actually subscribed, so if you do enjoy this video and want to see some more content like this, feel free to like and subscribe. Anyways, here is the order of the topics on the screen now I'll be covering in today's video. Anyways, without further ado, let's get right into, has Fall Guys fixed its hacking problem? Well, I bet this is the part that you have all been waiting for, and this is for them actually dealing with the problem, the hacking plague that is ruining the game. Are the developers fixing it? Well, in this part I'll be telling you everything you need to know about it, but I just want to say in advance that the against section to this has more evidence than this section as a whole. But anyways, let's actually get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is hackers disconnecting mid-game. One thing that I randomly witnessed in a couple of games of Fall Guys was hackers randomly disconnecting during a game even though they'd already qualified or they were on a team that was winning. This is sometimes hard to see, as the Fall Guy will essentially be there and then be gone the next second. You'll not realise that he's gone until you're in the next game and you realise there's no one flying around or automatically selling their body to qualify. It makes me a bit curious that perhaps the developers are actually dealing with this and disconnecting hackers during the game rather than at the end of the games that they used to pre. This is actually something interesting because there actually could be a couple reasons behind this. The hacker simply got bored and or got disqualified. This is something that could be the case. Perhaps the hacker had to log off and his reign of terror was quickly ended when his mum walked into his room and told him, "Son, what is this sex dungeon that I have witnessed and found in our basement?" The next one I think is actually quite unlikely because I don't think that the in-game anti-cheat system will be disconnecting hackers mid-game, because I think it's more likely that these hackers are simping over Keemstar than they are being disconnected by the anti-cheat system. But something the Twitter page for Fall Guys has been mentioning, they say that they are updating their hacking system and improving it. Something that they have been saying for a while now, so perhaps this is actually coming into effect and they are doing it. This is not something I will believe straight away. We need concrete evidence. We need more hackers to be disqualified or kicked from the game during the game rather than after the game, then loading into another one and seeing more hackers. We want to see these actively being disconnected on more cases rather than the odd occasion. I just think they just got disconnected because they were bored. Tying into this is the tweets that have been circling the internet for some time now. These tweets effectively say a multitude of things, but the main one I want to point to is the rant tweets that were put on the Fall Guys Twitter page. These essentially state players that are caught cheating during a game will be banned. They are catching a lot of cheaters. Most players that cheat are caught in their first time. Specifically remember this, by the way, because this is something that I'll be talking about in the against section for this video. They also state this, however: please try to avoid sharing videos, posts about cheaters. They encourage people to cheat. Please don't share live streams of them, blah blah blah. You get the point. The devs are essentially saying that they are dealing with the problem, and this was tweeted out on September 2nd. So perhaps they are actually solving it and they're doing well. They just don't want people to cover it because maybe it gives them a bit of bad press. But that's not all. They did also put out another tweet on September 6th, which gives us another glimmer of hope, which will be coming in the next 2 weeks. We are very sorry about the cheating problem. We are expanding the current detection system to improve things. We also have a big update to add the same anti-cheat system as Fortnite. Could the game finally fix its hacking problem and scandals that plagued the game? And could PlayStation fanboys finally turn on crossplay once again and join us PC brothers in making Xbox players cry over not having Fall Guys? Well, I mean, I don't think they'll make Xbox players cry, because I'm an Xbox player, but I do want Fall Guys on Xbox, okay? Please. But truthfully, although they say they are doing all of this to fix the game, is it really working? Is there any truth behind the tweets that they are putting out? Because at the moment we just have words. That's it. We have no evidence of them doing it, apart from maybe some hackers disconnecting mid-game because their parents are calling them for their dinner. One of the biggest factors that I need to mention when I do talk about the against section of the hacking problem and the devs dealing with it is the new hacks that are emerging in the game currently and are making the gameplay worse for normal people who just want to play this game for fun. So let's actually talk about some of these new hacks that are currently plaguing the game that I discovered and many other people have discovered as well on Reddit, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all over the place. There will be some clips from Reddit and maybe some from Facebook and YouTube as well. The Reddit users and the account I got them from will be tagged along with the video as well on the screen. So let's talk about these hacks.
What the fuck?
The first one I do want to mention is a new variation of the teleportation, but it's not actually teleporting the users. This is insta-win. This is one of the new hacks that everybody technically already knew about because it was teleporting back in the day, where hackers could simply teleport to the end of the level to qualify, but they could never do it to win the final rounds because you'd have to wait for players to grab a crown in Fall Mountain, or you'd have to wait for players to die on Royal Fumble and Hexagon. However, shown in this clip, we can clearly see a hacker just normally going about his day on Fall Mountain, and then suddenly, rather than teleporting, he just wins. It appears the new hacks for Fall Guys just make you instantly win with the click of a button, something that I think is pathetic. The man creating these hacks must have a sad, sad life. I simply believe they are so detached from human society that they have gone back to the jungle to join the apes. But to me, that is an insult to apes. The next Fall Guys hack is specific to Hoopsie Daisy. Simply putting it, the hackers can now just teleport through hoops on Hoopsie Daisy and go through hoops without actually going through them, automatically acquiring their team points, which will then lead to their team often or not getting over 100 points, something that I think is completely unfair and is actually how I have lost a game in Fall Guys. And the final hack that I want to talk about, there's actually two hacks that I want to talk about here, and this is the impossible elimination hack, which is purely something that I have seen. I'm going to put a disclaimer, this is from word of mouth, something I have seen, so maybe if you don't accept this one being valid, that's totally fine. But essentially, if you're on something like Slime Climb or Block Party, the hackers will fall into the slime, but they'll be invulnerable and they will be not eliminated from the game. They'll simply just qualify when the round is over, even though they fell into the slime. This is technically similar to auto-qualify, but it still makes them seem like they are playing the game. Also, I do want to touch up on this incredible picture from an awesome guy called David. The angling of this picture makes the flying hacker look like a giant, and well, I wouldn't be surprised if hackers actually became big guys. Now, for this next part, I just want to take you back to a peaceful time, a time and a place where it was all calm in the Twitter realms of Fall Guys. And they didn't have Beanbot as the Twitter account! Why? Why have you got Beanbot? It's absolutely useless and we know it's an actual person controlling it, it's not a robot! Sorry. However, I'm going to bring back some tweets that I did mention earlier on in the video, back when things were simpler. Whoever runs Fall Guys Twitter put out players that are caught cheating during a game will be banned after. They are catching lots of cheaters, and most players that are cheating are caught in the first time. Firstly, let's discuss the first and the last thing out of those three comments. Players caught during the game will be banned afterwards, and most players that cheat are caught in the first time. So this is actually not right at all. They claim they are banning players straight away in the game when the game is done and they detect a hacker in that game, whether it be the hacker's first game, they're eliminated and banned from the game straight away. Awesome. I don't need to talk about this part because clearly it's working.
Are you sure about that?
It is not, because you have players who have skins that require crowns. 10 crowns. You've got loads of hackers running around now in the banana costumes. You can't hack and get crowns currently because it's server side. You cannot hack and get server side stuff. Essentially, these hackers are going through games, cheating, winning them, and then they're putting on these skins, buying them with crowns. So clearly, hackers are not being dealt with in their first game hacking if they've got emotes, costumes that all require crown. To me, it's quite a lie that the developers are saying right now, and it's not something that is actually happening. It's just words, there's no evidence. Let's add a little bit more flames to the fire here. If they are catching lots of cheaters, why are we simply seeing more and more cheaters? More in streams, people in games with most 14 hackers, and of course people who are putting them all over Reddit, Facebook, YouTube, you name it. There's a video of a hacker on that platform. There are more videos, more streamers, more people catching them, more bad reviews about the game that mention hackers, and more of an incentive by the community to solve the hacking problem, whether it be in team games where teams are actively fighting against their own team because they have a hacker in them. Looking back at when I made my first video and I talked about how the tweets were saying, you know, everything will be okay, they're dealing with it. I thought that was actually going to work. I thought they were dealing with it. I didn't have to make a second video. But here I am, making a second video on something that could have been easily fixed 3 weeks ago. All they've said is just word of mouth, and it's not actually got any evidence to support it. The evidence is supporting the contrary. It's supporting the developers not actually solving the problem. Devs, please, rather than telling us via tweets, please show us evidence of it. That's all we want. We just want evidence of you guys banning the hackers. Now, this final thing that I want to talk about for the against section is technically split into multiple different things. So we already know it, that the game's reporting system for hackers is a farce. It's not something that you can do because the reporting is absolutely useless. We know that each Fall Guy tag is used by about 1,000 different players. One thing's for sure, the hacking problem would be dealt with a lot better if players could actually do something, but because there's no way to report in game, support page for reporting hackers actually isn't useful, and the devs tweeting that we shouldn't be reporting anyways makes us see more hacking videos and more videos of hackers. The game's Twitter page even tried to actively shut down people who were just trying to help to report hackers, where they say in a string of tweets saying please try to avoid sharing videos, posts about cheaters. They encourage people to cheat. Please don't share live streams of them either. This is essentially them just trying to stop people reporting hackers. Something that I think isn't fair, and I think it's just a way to get rid of bad, negative press from the game, because at the end of the day, all they want is revenue flowing in from people buying the game, and people will not be buying the game if it's full of hackers. The game has a problem, and the game's reputation is being tarnished because of it. The videos of hackers are there to show everyone, including the developers over at Mediatonic, how much shit the game is in, and how much this will affect the game's popularity in the long run if they do not deal with it in the short term. What is the point of playing Fall Guys? The devs say they've fixed it, but how does he have a skin that requires 10 crowns combined? They're not fixing the problem. It's not being fixed. But because this is a huge problem, I do want to actually talk about some suggestions that I think the developers should consider. Now, I did mention 4 in my old video, and today I'm mentioning an extra 5. 2 of which are technically from the old video. But anyways, let's get right into it. So firstly, I suggest you get rid of the Fall Guys tags, or at least incorporate Steam names or account names into the game. This one is a big ask on the developer's part, but it is something that is doable. The game's biggest and most flawed feature currently, apart from its anti-cheat, is its Fall Guys tag system. There are up to 1,000 players using the same tag, which of course makes it impossible to report a player if you are a player and you want to report someone, because obviously the game is not going to take that report into consideration because, well, there's 2,000 other potentially innocent people that could be caught in the mix. The suggestion that I am putting forward right here is that you remove the Fall Guys tag and switch it with a Steam name. Or, if you do not want to remove the Fall Guys tag, you simply just incorporate Steam names into a game. Maybe a button, press tab in game that will show all the players in the game and their Steam profiles or their profile name rather than their Fall Guys tag. PlayStation has it. PlayStation has it where it's their PlayStation name rather than a Fall Guys tag. So essentially, why didn't you just do it? Why have two platforms that have a completely different naming system? Now, this one was mentioned in my last video and is something that I actually think is very doable and ties very well with the previous statement about switching Fall Guys tags with Steam name. Please, for the love of God, developers of Fall Guys, there is no better way to rid hackers from the game with having a combined effort in arms with your anti-cheat system and players reporting hackers, because it works 2 and 2 together. You can effectively deal with it if you have players and an anti-cheat working together rather than just a faulty anti-cheat that's not working 100% of the time. People want to report hackers. Believe me, if people did not want to report hackers, there wouldn't be such an outcry about videos all over Reddit, Facebook, YouTube and Twitter. Simply, all you need to do to solve this is add a way to 1. Show the players in the current game, a list of all the 60 players that were in the game that you were in, as well as their attributed Fall Guys tag. 2. Add a way to manually report the players in the game. And 3. Add a way to blacklist players. There are 20 million people playing Fall Guys. Blacklisting a hacker will simply not affect your loading time into the game. You have the link to the external support page still available, so please have a way to actually report players in-game rather than making players get out their time and effort to go to an external site and report it when it does nothing. Up next is something I also mentioned in my last video, and this is an in-game recording or screenshotting system. This is another one which I suggested before, and obviously this is one that I think goes hand in hand with the one before and the one before that. Perhaps the game could have an inbuilt replay creation software in it that will record your recent replays, much like a game that I play a lot, World of Tanks. They have an inbuilt replay system that will film your game and then make it accessible as a replay in a folder for you to watch later. This would be an excellent way to solve the problem. You could submit that replay to the support page, so then the developers will have a replay to show of the hackers. To add to this, you can have an inbuilt screenshotting software like games like Path of Titans, where you can press a button and a bug or player reporting tool will come up, which will automatically have screenshotted your screen. Now, the next two are the most simple ones that I think the developers of the game can easily do. The first one is ban players as soon as hacking is detected, not wait until the end of the game. If they're reported and they are banned straight away when hacking is detected, that makes it easier for players not likely to leave the game for sure, and for their time not being wasted, so they can actually go through and play the game and perhaps win a crown. Because once a player sees a hacker in Fall Guys, they are more likely to quit. The final one that I do want to mention is to be more transparent. For the final suggestion, this is something that I really just want the developers to do, and it's something that we all want them to do, is for you to be more transparent as developers on dealing with the problem. Yes, you are saying you are dealing with the hacking problem, but you are not showing any evidence to support it. You can put a tweet out saying, we have dealt with it, more hackers are being banned, but where is the evidence? That tweet does not stand any significant chance of being actually recognised by us if there's no evidence to back it. Because at the moment, you're putting these tweets out and it's getting worse. There is clearly a problem here, and you need to restore the players' confidence in the game by being more transparent with us. Hello, this is Editing Jordan here, or Editing Velocci, whatever you want to call me, but there are some things I wanted to add to the end of this video because, well, I'm editing it currently 2 hours before the deadline to add this in, and this is new stuff that the developers of the game have announced in regards to hackers. So firstly, we get a Reddit comment by Fall Guys Joe, and he says, okay, let me set the record straight here slightly. Apologies that this has not been communicated well. Initially, when banning players, we were setting them to their own matchmaking pool. There weren't enough cheaters initially to populate this, so they weren't getting matches, essentially banning them. Recently, as we've banned more players, there were enough to populate this pool and they've started getting matches. Very recently, we've turned this functionality off, and if you're banned, you're banned. It's pretty clear we aren't catching cheaters on their first match as we previously thought, and it's taking longer for us to detect them. We have better anti-cheat coming soon that should hopefully put an end to cheaters ruining games. Some of our messaging on other platforms still states this, and we're in the process of cleaning it up. Now, the other thing I wanted to notice was another tweet by the Fall Guys Twitter account, Fall Guys Server Owl, which said, today a further 977 cheaters were retrospectively banned. We have been tracking cheaters and will continue to ban bad beans, which I think is amazing. Now it shows that the developers are dealing with this problem, and hopefully this means better things are to come. Anyways guys, I do hope you enjoyed this video. This took me ages to edit, and yeah, I hope you enjoy it. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day.